All right. Good day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel show. So this evening, I'm catching up with, he's basically become a regular guest co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Chuck Wood from Utah. And we're catching up because as I'm recording this, it's the week after the massive record-breaking Hurricane Helene has wrecked house across the Southeast U.S. And for a refresher for our newer listeners, I live in Pennsylvania. Chuck's in Utah. Other than some rain, we didn't get hurt up here. But we were going to talk about some other things that we normally do. He's a big techie and stuff like that. But then with everything unfolding right now, I had to start off on a positive note, and then we could dig into what's happening real time. So I'm going to timestamp this episode. It is Friday, October 4th. So I'm going to push this out a bunch ahead of some older content that I still need to get out because everything's happening right now. I will say on a positive note, because Chuck knows what I was doing separately from Hurricane. Former wildland firefighter, my charity Fuel Foundations has officially launched and successfully completed transactions of purchasing new boots for our wildland firefighters. So for our regular listeners, I didn't just talk about it, I did it. My charity, Fuel Foundations, which benefits from the sale of my book, So You Want to Be a Hotshot, on hotshotbook.com, which takes you to the Amazon listing. And 5% of all of my gross income goes into that charity, a bank account, until hopefully it becomes viral and other people want to donate. But that being said, I've already paid for through JK Boots. Shout out to JK Boots from Spokane, Washington. They have a store in Arizona. And my old hotshot crew finished their wildland firefighting season. And I helped sponsor a Hotshot of the Year award. I helped sponsor Most Improved Hotshot award. And then there was just another award. They wanted to award a guy. And I said, you know what? I haven't given out any boots yet. It's brand new. I need proof that I'm giving back and we're paying for things. So we ended up paying for 2 brand new pairs of boots and then a rebuild on the third guy. And then I had 2 other applicants who found the post on Instagram already on the Fuel Foundation's feed, and they submitted entries in for what's going to become a regular drawing. So basically, I'm hoping this goes viral where I don't have enough funding to pay for everybody, so I'm going to have to do these drawings where I pull names from the hat and then just keep doing that. Hopefully that the virility takes off. That being said, the rebuild guy, he showed up at the store. Brought in a new pair of his pair of boots to get submitted for rebuild. Turns out they were a lower brand quality and they just weren't good enough to be rebuilt. Just some fun things about heavy duty wildland firefighting class leather boots. So technically that's now 3 new pairs of boots. We got him covered and paid for a new pair of boots there. And the other 2 dudes, one from California, another one from the same hotshot crew. Shout out to Mesa Hotshots, my old crew. Again, another pair of boots. So now we're up to 4 brand new pairs of boots paid for and 1 rebuild pending. So I'm excited, Chuck. It gets my hair standing on my hand. So I had to start on a positive note because, one, I've talked about in the past, so people need to know that I don't just talk about shit. I get it done and we get it moving. So let's talk about that theme of getting shit done and getting things moving. I know you're not a big profanity guy. Maybe that's the title of the show. I don't know. Let's see where this goes. Because you and I are real time watching and listening like most of our citizens and people around the world from this record-breaking hurricane.
Right.
It's bad. It's bad. So right before I hit record, I said, hey, I'm literally not sleeping well at night. My old, firefighter, first responder trained brain is like, oh, what if I went down? What could I do? Who can I partner with? And I've been watching all these amazing nonprofit groups, and you're a very religious man, but there's been most of the stuff I've been seeing are from these church groups. It's very impressive. Like some of these are really well, established. Like they got their own 18 wheelers and they're rolling in with convoys. And I'm like, I think one of them is called Samaritan's Purse. Yeah. Okay, dude. So shout out to those guys and girls because I saw like a convoy of 18 wheelers roll in and they're all branded up on the videos I'm watching on YouTube. And I'm like, who the heck is that? So now I'm following them. And then there's a helicopter group called Aerial Recovery. And I've been following them. So these guys this is super cool. And again, this is all still fresh. So I want to start off on some good notes of people doing good things. I'm going to screen share real quick for the Aerial Recovery, right? These are all like former military dudes that just started a nonprofit and just go around helping people through humanitarian efforts, right? And because they're special operations trained. And so all these groups are rolling in because the federal government has their heads up their butt and they haven't done squat. And I don't like to get political on this show. You and I have danced it very closely a few times.
Yeah.
And we're in the election season. And we're a month out from the election season. Actually, are we literally 31 days? Is it right? November 5th? Yeah.
Yeah.
34. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
So now that I've laid all that out there, starting off with positivity, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting just to kind of, because I remember like Hurricane Katrina when it hit New Orleans.
Yeah, I felt guilty because I didn't go down and help that year either. That was at 2008. Right. Is that 08 maybe?
I don't remember for sure.
Yeah,
I could look it up, but
I'll look it up.
Anyway, and so there were a lot of things that went right and a lot of things that went wrong, but it doesn't seem like the last handful of these that FEMA has really been in there to solve it. But what's amazing to me is, like you said, I'm watching or listening to people who run some of these organizations, and it's like holy cow, did people step up?
Dude, step up is like an understatement. I mean,
right.
Did you see the mule brigades?
Yeah.
Right? Like my wife is a horse doctor, right? So we're watching this and I'm like, yo, is that an old school mule train? Because this is Appalachia. So for people who don't know Appalachia, we're talking about some remote like country.
Oh yeah. Well, that's part of the
regions.
problem that they've had too, is that getting into there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you had roads, but
the roads are gone. I mean,
the roads are gone. Yeah.
Creeks turned into torrential rivers that ripped out the roads. So creeks that have never even overflowed. I mean, what was the record? What did they say? Like over 30 inches in 24 hours?
Yeah, there were some areas that got like 31 or 32 inches. And
it's never been done. I mean, I think they literally broke all records. And real quick, Katrina was 2005. So now we're literally 9 years later. And Katrina's got
19 years later.
Oh, sorry. Wow. Well, okay. And I'm getting older. 19. Okay. Thank you for the math on that. Yeah, I mean, because I also was, when I finished firefighting, I had come back here to East Coast after Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy was a major East Coast impactor back in, I think that was 2012. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So both of those events. So I got to come back and run chainsaws with my former fire brothers. And that back then we did it just as a side hustle, just to make a little bit of money because the tree companies were crushing and like overcharging people. And we didn't get paid a lot as firefighters. We just went, hey, why don't we come back and if people want to hire us, we can make a difference while severely charging way less money. Now this time I'm ready to load up my Jeep and just go down on my own dollar. I'm not here to do any money, but it's just like you said, Samaritan's Purse, again, aerial recovery. Let me screen share for them too, just for some YouTube love when this goes out. So I already did aerial recovery. Here's Samaritan's Purse's website, SamaritansPurse.org. Didn't know anything about them until this. They're running 5 different sites. It's crazy. But I mean, here we go. Helpful driving information for volunteers. There's one of their 18 wheelers right there. So. Wow. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, they were started by what? Billy Graham, I think.
Really? See, I
think
don't even
so.
know. I'm literally like, as we're talking, learning about all this stuff because it's just, that's what's popping up on Instagram and everything else. Luckily, I follow positive feeds so I can see this stuff. I'm not into all the drama.
Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, is their president.
Ah, okay.
That's what it is. I knew there was some tie-in somewhere, but
and since we're both podcasters, they also have their own podcast too. So I noticed too. So again, they're international. I believe Aerial Recovery is now international because a lot of people don't believe in, or I shouldn't say don't believe in. A lot of people don't trust massive organizations like the American Red Cross. I'm not saying they don't do good. But when you can't unlearn when you hear about the executive teams running these organizations making 6 figures, multi-6 figures. It's like, I can't unlearn that. And it's an international organization, Chuck. You need to have reputable people running it to ensure the success. And I'm like, I'm a reputable person and I started my own charity and I don't take $1 out of it. It's a 100% nonprofit. If that does that mean I can't reach the world? Okay. I can't reach the world, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but there are big organizations out there that do this stuff. And to be honest, like I go and I do my homework, right? And I'm like, okay, how much of your budget goes to what I'm giving you money for, right? And so I've given to like Operation Underground Railroad. And, you know, it's like 85, 90% goes
that
to
documentary,
the thing, right?
Amazing. I did a big donation
Sound
to
of
them
Freedom.
as well. I got the swag, I got the hat and the shirt and everything.
Right. Yeah. You've got, there was another one that was evacuating Christians out of the Middle East under ISIS.
Yep.
And then they were evacuating people out of Afghanistan during that.
Yeah.
And so that one is Nazarene Fund, and they're run by the Mercury, what is it? Anyway, it's Glenn Beck's outfit. But the thing is they run a gala and tell everybody. So if you buy a ticket to the gala, you're paying the operational costs for the thing. Mm-hmm. But if you donate to their fund, 100% of the fund then goes to the thing, right? And so if I want my money to go to the thing, that's what it does, right? And so they've got some other organization that I think they partner with Samaritan's Purse and some of these others to get stuff in. But that's the deal. If you look at American Red Cross, that's why I said I didn't trust them, is theirs is like 42% goes to whatever it is that you're putting your money toward. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, if you're going to take more than half the money, I'm going to give it to somebody else who's going to give all the money.
Exactly.
Right? And, you know, I'm not saying that those people aren't good people, but I want to give my money where it's going to make the most difference. And so that's what I do.
And again, some people want to trash those organizations. There's plenty of people out there.
No, they go do good stuff. It's just if I give them $10, they do 42% of the good that the $10 would do somewhere else.
Right. I like to know that my funds are going somewhere that's directly impacting.
Yeah.
And these organizations are trying to take the time to say, okay, how do we not have to pay the overhead, or how do we get the overhead sponsored differently so we can ensure that people's donations are directly impacting, right?
Right.
Things like that.
What can we organize so that we can pay the operational costs that's not out of the donations?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's part of the theme of this episode too, is just taking the time to do a little bit of research so you know where your money's going.
Right.
Again, better ROI. I'm investing in these nonprofit efforts. I want to make sure that my investment is going to reach peak results. So, and then you got amazing people like Elon. We before we hit recording.
Yeah.
Some people love Elon Musk, some people don't. But he was one of the first people, high-tech, multi-millionaire, billionaire guy saying, hey, wait a minute. I mean, granted, it's great marketing for his Starlink project.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, I own my own satellites, and I could ship you my mobile transponders, and we can get data flowing in that area because, cell phone towers probably got blown down. And I already know from that world, most cell phone towers have portable generators installed on all of them, but you have to have them refueled. So if the roads are gone, if there's remote cell phone towers there nearby, you're not going to have power. They're going to lose power.
If the cell phone towers didn't get washed or blown away.
Oh, yeah. With massive hurricane class winds, if they're even standing. Exactly.
Right.
So, or the floodwaters from 30 inches of rain didn't rise up and blow the bases out too. So,
but my thing is with the internet. So, we're basically talking about, do these people have shelter, food, and water?
The basic necessities.
For the internet, right? If I'm over there, right? What am I worried about? Well, my mom lives in the next town over. Is she okay?
Yeah.
And do I really have a good way of knowing that without walking over there and without cell service? Not really. And so if you can put internet in that town and put internet in my town, and then I can connect with people in that town and say, hey, has anyone seen mom?
Yeah.
Right?
And
so for me, that's a major deal. And then you can coordinate too.
That's the amazing era we live in. Because it's no joke. I've been literally the past 24 hours researching. I used to have like 2A radios for years, and I don't want to shout this company out, but actually, what the heck? Rapid radios. They've been blowing me up in my news feed. So they must have the, Apple's algorithms, whatever. They did a good job. The problem with rapid radios is their branding is, it's cool. And remember the old Nextel phones? Like the beep beep two-way radio feature on a cell phone type thing.
Oh yeah.
So the problem is, yes, it's like you don't have to wait for the phone call to dial and connect and blah blah blah. Nextel's whole advantage was you just hit the button and it's a push to talk, and it's like a two-way radio, but the technology is dependent on the cell phone networks.
Right.
So rapid radios basically, I believe their keyword was omnibus. They're paying for an omnibus level of data connectivity across all providers. So their two-way radios don't care about whose cell phone network it is. Right. It's just using data, and it is a two-way radio for real-time uplink. But I'm like, wait a minute. It's not a two-way radio. You're not using radio frequencies. It's still data dependent, and specifically it's LTE and cell phone dependent. So I don't want to buy those because if all the towers are down, now granted, I know I used to work with T-Mobile years ago. We had towable mobile transponder mini towers that you could. We sent them. I can't imagine
that wouldn't exist.
We sent them in for 9/11 into New York City when the towers came down. So I'm sure every company's got them. But even if they got them in there, again, if the roads are accessible and they can tow them in that far, then you need power, then you need the generators, then you need the fuel. So it's going to take time to get even this emergency backup infrastructure up and flowing. So I love the Starlink thing. I didn't even think about it until I started seeing it get blown up on the news feeds. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good idea. It's satellite based. I mean, they're obviously going to have generators there. They're going to, again, they got to set up fuel silages. They got to set up fuel supplies. But I don't know how much power these Starlinks take. But like you just said, if I can get one into Asheville, or a couple of them, because Asheville is going to have a lot of people there now. And then the neighboring communities. Okay. At least be able to get an email back and forth. It's something. So.
Well, or you can also, hey, we've got 4 people that need critical medical attention. Please send somebody.
Yeah, because again, if the mule trains didn't get to these remote homes in the mountains because the roads are gone, now you got people like Aero Recovery. They're flying flights around trying to access these remote homes, either drop off supplies or get people out of there. But again, part of this change of our normal programming today was, I'm seeing a buddy of mine's been following Elon all day, and he's sending screenshots that Elon's tweeting because he's got an engineer on the ground or trying to get on the ground delivering Starlink systems. And now FEMA decides to just throw a giant turd in the pot and say, we got to control this. So we need FEMA and FAA to lock down the airspace. Cause it's true that people were already talking about this for the past couple of days. People were saying, oh no, they're not going to arrest, good Samaritans doing good things. Well, now they're trying to lock the airspace down. Yeah. You hope not. Like, dude, there's already been people there with their private planes, their private helicopters, or people like Air Recovery the past how many days taking care of business, stepping up way before FEMA shows up. But now we need to lock it down. Why you got to lock it down? Why don't you just infuse yourself into the situation, provide the logistical support that these citizens need to keep doing the good that they're doing. I don't know. Teamwork.
The other thing is that, so I was hearing reports, because when did it hit? Like last Friday or Saturday?
Yeah. My buddy flew back Sunday. So it was like Thursday, Friday.
I've been hearing reports from all kinds of people all week, on the different programs I listen to, and they're all going, oh, okay, so we're in here and we're doing this, and this is how you can, either help pay for our fuel or, send us supplies or whatever, right? And then inevitably somebody goes, oh, okay, well, are you working with FEMA? Or, what's FEMA doing to help? And every single one of them, I mean, they gave them the benefit of the doubt. They basically said, well, we don't know what they're doing, but they're not here. And I'm going, really? Like, really? So, I mean, because the government has a ton of resources, right? You've got military, you've got National Guard, you've got,
right.
Like
the whole point of FEMA. They respond to natural disasters.
They print money for dumb stuff, and they can't pay for supplies to go out. I mean,
hey, we've got hotels for Haitians, and when we've got an open border. I mean, again, no matter your political position, okay. So all this FEMA funding has been to support people that are not actually citizens of this country. Last time I checked, FEMA was paid for by me, a citizen. I want my tax dollars benefiting my fellow citizens who are struggling and dying.
Actually, I think it's paid for by my grandkids at this point. But go ahead.
That's a good point. But so it's like, for God's sakes, I'm not saying don't help mankind, but any other country. I just texted this to a buddy yesterday. What's your thought on this? Some people. Here's where I'm going to go with it. Maybe it's a selfish comment, but it's like, okay, last time I checked, when you look at any other country in this world, and it's not communist countries like China I'm talking about, they're going to take care of themselves first and then still be willing to help others, right? Even Switzerland.
Well, we hope so, right? And then
Switzerland's not going to sacrifice their own country and their own citizens. They're going to strengthen themselves first because they understand the importance of if we're strong, that allows us to be stronger to help others.
Right. And it might be your turn now to need help, and then later it'll be our turn.
Right.
And so if we're in a position of strength when you need the help, we can help you. And then when it turns around, the other way I look at it is, I've got 5 kids, and I live in a neighborhood where we got a ton of kids, teenagers here in the neighborhood, right? Yeah. And I'm totally happy when times are good to help out the neighbor kids. Right.
There you go.
To hire them to do stuff so they can pay for band tour or whatever.
Yeah. Mow the lawn, clean up the property, whatever. Maybe.
Yeah. They come by selling cookie dough, and I buy cookie dough that I never eat. Right. But
that's not 75 hard. There we go.
Right. Yeah. But my point is if I'm not in good shape financially, I'm paying for food and lights and everything here for me and my kids. And, maybe the neighbors help out where they can help out, right? If that, because our church community is really good about that. But, my primary responsibility is my kids first, right? Yeah. And that's not to say that I shouldn't help my neighbors. But the point is that when we've got people who are part of our family, right, Americans, who critically need our help, then that's got to be the priority over taking care of people who are not.
And that's my point. It's like,
and I don't have a problem helping those other people out when they need it.
Absolutely.
Right? Now we can get into the politics
atrocities
of immigration and blah blah blah. But yeah.
If there's atrocities,
but that's a different issue.
The problem is we've been so distracted by being the world's police and this war and that war or this Haitian culture sacrifice. I get it, dude. The world's a messed up place. We're never going to run out of negative things to try and assist with. But if we keep sacrificing our homeland, our own country, our own infrastructure, our own people, our own citizens, our own economy, our own money, we won't be able to keep being the world police. We won't be able to keep helping these other people down the road. So if we truly do want to be this country that symbolizes helping everyone else in the world and fighting communism, all this crap, you can't ignore the root. It's like, oh, I'm just going to keep poisoning the roots of that oak tree. But it's okay. It'll never die and fall over. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trees die.
Well, the thing that's also amazing, just to that point, and for one, a lot of the money that we send overseas to other countries, we could have a debate as to whether that or not that helps. And I think it depends situationally. But my point with corruption. A lot of this is that it really says something to the fact that we've got all of these other things coming in to our country that are not helping us, that are actually, in some cases harmful. In other cases, they're just kind of a drag on the system. But we're still standing, right? I think that just speaks a lot to our resilience, too. I mean, as much, I'm not justifying any of it, but
I don't care if you're blue, red, what side of the politics you're on. I love our country and I love our citizens. I don't care both sides.
Yeah.
We need to do more things together, right?
Yeah.
But you can't ignore that there's no money. It's all fake printed money because we've overtaxed ourselves for years. So we're actually not doing good things.
Right.
We're lying to ourselves and paying for all this shit with credit. So we're not doing good.
Yeah, well, and then they came in, and so there are 2 points I want to make. So one was that FEMA was late to the scene. From what I understand, they got there a couple days ago.
And now they're short on funding. Well, duh.
Right. Well, and so that's the other issue. But they showed up a couple days ago. By the time they showed up, my understanding is that Ron DeSantis has basically mostly handled things in Florida. Now, granted,
he just, what was that, this morning or yesterday? He locked down. Oh, he basically said, "Oh, you want to strike at the ports? Nah, sorry, I'll just run the ports myself." That's right. That's what I read yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, that again, that's a separate issue. But my point is that because there was, what was the other hurricane that hit like last year or the year before?
Oh, like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But they, he learned his lesson. And so, this time around, like and the time before, he had trucks lined up outside the path of the hurricane. And as soon as it came through, he had folks in there and was all over getting it.
The utility companies were staged. Yeah. Like now all of that's going viral now. But all the photos of these fields and fields full of utility boom rocket trucks, that was Florida. He basically said, "Hey, it's called staging. When we were doing wild and firefighting, if there's a high risk pocket, as a hotshot,
you're ready to go.
We were deployed early. Unless it was a hot part of the season, we were just moving. We just boom, go, 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 go. But many times they would pre-position us, like, hey, this area is not looking good. High risk of wildfire. That local crew is out fighting one in California or in Oregon. We're going to pre-position you into that area to backfill them in case anything rips off." That's just intelligent, right? Crews. So
the thing is like in that case, it's much easier to fight the fire when it starts and it's small. Right. And in the case of Florida, like you can't really control the size of what the hurricane does to you.
Because you don't know what it's going to do yet. Yeah.
But the point is that every day that you go without things like power and clean water, things get massively worse.
And
so if you're ready to go in and restore electricity and clean up the water systems and stuff and make sure people have food, you head off all kinds of diseases, all kinds of complications for health. I looked it up, and as of yesterday at 12:30, there were about 20,000 people in Florida that didn't have electricity.
It's not bad.
In Georgia, there were 288,000 people that didn't have power. South Carolina was 363,000. North Carolina was 319,000. And this is, Florida, you can argue that on that panhandle.
They're Hurricane Alley, man.
Where they got hit.
Hurricane Alley.
They got hit harder than anybody else because as soon as it hits land, it starts to slow down and peter out.
And Florida's where do the hurricanes come from? They come from Africa, across the Atlantic, and they build a lot of juice off the Gulf.
Yeah.
If they get into the Gulf like this one did,
and this one it came up off the Gulf. Yeah. And so it's just, and it hit on the panhandle. It didn't go through the middle of Florida.
True.
But my point is just being on top of it makes a huge difference. And he was on it from day one. And I don't understand why the federal government can't do that.
Because we're too big and bloated.
I do understand. You're correct.
Right? It's like, honestly, to be fair, hold on. I mean, not to pick political sides, but it's like, to be fair, we shouldn't need FEMA. FEMA is like the emergency backup plan.
This is demonstrating, at least in my opinion, we may not need FEMA.
Thank you. Texas doesn't need them. Florida's just proven that they don't need them. And again, that's why that's why our founding fathers created the governments we are. You're more up in this than I am. But even I've had to get back into the history and study this. It's like, guys, this is why we have local government, state government, and federal government. We
Yeah.
got to take care of our own shit. Now, granted, if a massive, devastating event hits, it's nice. It's a nice, warm and fuzzy knowing that we've got this big, strong, and should be financially well-fueled organization like FEMA to take care of things.
Yeah, but it's not anymore. Not if they're going to show up too late.
And we're helping the wrong things. FEMA is to be helping our citizens. It's our tax dollars. No offense, I don't want my tax dollars paying for another country's problems unless I've dictated that. So, yeah, sorry, that's not what FEMA was for.
But to the point of the resources, that's the other thing, right? And I understand they may allocate more, but what's his name? The Secretary of whatever, Homeland Security, I think it is, that's over FEMA, right?
I think so.
And he came out and he basically
that flows
said,
up under the Department of Interior, I believe, because my Wild and Firefighting Division, we if you followed it high.
No, that's Department of Interior. FEMA, I think, is Homeland Security.
Okay.
It's a different department.
Which again, keeping the homeland secure. So
yeah, but the point is that I can't remember the guy's name, but he came out and he basically said that FEMA was broke, and they came down and they told everybody that we're going to give you $750. Now I understand that they didn't say that was all that people were going to get. Right? I want to, I don't want to misstate anything, but the deal is I mean how far is $750 going to go, especially if there's no infrastructure to use it?
That's my point. Why are we even talking about $750 a citizen right now? Granted, I'm not a FEMA trained person, but I'm like, all you did was light a fire in people because they heard how small the dollar amount was. Dude, you need to take every dollar you got and send convoys of supplies, generators.
Yes.
Get people back to a healthy state of at least it's not even a level playing field.
Like I said, they need shelter, food, and water.
We're not talking about money right now. We're talking about supplies. We know the Fed sits on a ton of supplies because we paid for it. So deploy the supplies that we've paid for to help our fellow citizens. Let's not talk about a paycheck yet. Sorry, people just want to live. Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, the other thing is Florida demonstrated that if you know it's coming, you can get ready, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is it's like, did you not start mobilizing before the hurricane hit?
Exactly.
And the answer is clearly no, we didn't.
They should have had deployment teams staged like Virginia. Hello, it's Washington, D.C. Don't tell me you don't have bases in Virginia. It's right next door. And what's next door to Virginia?
They have bases all over.
I know, but what's next door to Virginia?
Tennessee.
The Carolinas.
They have them in Kentucky. They have them in North Carolina and South Carolina.
Right. But dude.
They have them all over Georgia.
But the capital of our country is within spitting distance of all the states affected. Florida's technically the furthest away. But Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, they're all right there, dude. Me coming from Pennsylvania is a longer drive.
But they have water bottles and generators in Florida too.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So it's not like you have to mobilize it all out of Washington.
Yeah.
You make a few phone calls and you say, hey, go clean out Home Depot. Thanks. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. We'll cut you a check later.
Right. Right. So that's the thing that's really frustrating.
Chuck, we're just dumb citizens. What do we know? Because we don't. Because I guarantee anybody who wants to comment on this video, go ahead. Because I don't read the comments. I'm like a Joe Rogan. I'm like, you can talk all the crap you want. But it's like, this is just basic, simple thought process.
If you don't like what I'm saying, what are you going to do? Cancel me on Twitter again?
Yeah, I know, right? Whatever. But it's like, but think about it. I mean, are we cracking atoms here? Or splitting atoms? No. Dude, it's just.
No.
It's not rocket
It feels
science.
like common sense, right?
Yeah, if I had a little bit more money, I would just go rent a truck, rent a trailer, and just fill it all up and just roll down there. Dude, just yesterday, they can't get plastic fuel cans, like the fuel cans you put gasoline in to run your lawnmower or my chainsaws.
Right.
So okay, so there's been some work I've been needing to get done on the Jeep anyway. So I just had all the parts ordered. So next week it goes into the shop. Off-road shop is adding all the stuff in. The drive shaft was sized wrong, whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to take that thing down there unless I know if I have to go off-road, I'm good to go. Right. So I mean, it's already been lifted. It's got a winch on it. It's super fun now, but I want to make sure I don't break anything when I'm down there. And I could tow something down. If I have to, I could go just rent like a U-Haul trailer, fill it with crap, and drive it down. That's what citizens do to help fellow citizens. That's not going to break the bank, you know?
Yeah. And that's what's amazing is just how many people have done that, right? They just step up. They figure out how to get in there. You know, even if it's, there's not really a good road. Well, I've got these animals that'll go,
the mule train.
They're made to go up hills.
I didn't even know. I think they're called the Cajun. It's Cajun something. I don't know. I'm loving it.
That's just a fun story, but it makes sense, right?
It totally makes sense.
You can't get in there any other way. Great.
Yeah. I mean, out your neck of the woods, I mean, not in Utah, but back in 2007, I hiked the Supai tribal lands, which is between Vegas and Flagstaff, Arizona.
In Arizona.
And the hike down the canyon wall, it's like a mini version of the Grand Canyon. It connects with the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
There's a mule train.
Lake Havasu is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But there's a mule train there. Well, it's the Havasu. It's the Havasu. It's the famous Havasupai hike to Havasu Falls that goes through the Supai tribal lands. Well, guess how they supplied the village? Mule train. And they have one helipad. So for anything big, it gets flown in by cargo nets and helicopters. So this is everything that we're doing that I've seen back in 2007 is happening right now in North Carolina to these remote mountain homes because the roads are just gone. But hey, mules can hike pretty much anywhere. I love it. So so I'm just at that point where I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure I don't get cut off at the pass because there's all kinds of rumors going on about that now too. Like, okay, now I'm doing the research going into next week to find out what groups I got to partner with or connect with. If they can guarantee me that I will get through, I'll take what I can. If I don't get a trailer, I'll fill it up. If I got to smell gasoline, the 9 hours to drive there, I'll just crack the windows. You know, it's going to be okay.
Right.
I might get a little high on petroleum, but I'll keep a can.
Oh, I know. If I could afford to, I mean, it'd be an 18-wheeler full of lumber,
right,
and a U-Haul truck full of power tools, and
I just went to the local Ace.
Let's give people a place to sleep.
It's it. But I went to the local Ace Hardware here 5 minutes ago to get propane for my grill.
Yeah,
the shelves are full. I have plenty of plastic fuel cans I could just go buy right down the street, go fill them up locally, and drive it all the way there. If that's what it takes to help these people, let's freaking go, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But now, FEMA, you mean to tell me you can't drive an 18-wheeler fuel tanker of petroleum in? Just throwing that out there. Like, can't you just say, hey, Philadelphia refineries, fill me up a couple 18-wheelers because I'm FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on my credit card, whatever, but we're out of money. I'm sure, we'll figure it out and just drive the 18-wheeler to one of the local compounds that have been set up. Yeah. And people can start feeling, and then, while we're at it, let's fill up an 18-wheeler of just plastic fuel cans from Home Depot. Like you just said, let's clean out Home Depot, all the fuel cans. Why don't we contact the fuel can manufacturer and say, hey, can you sponsor a truckload of fuel cans and just meet us in North Carolina? This isn't rocket science.
Well, the other thing is that if you really want to do them a solid, what you do is you say, after I get off the phone with you, I'm calling the press.
Exactly. Well,
then they do the, hey, look, Philip 66 donated, 18 tankers of fuel. And hey, look, Home Depot, shows the FEMA people pulling the fuel cans off the shelves.
Here's the thing. I'm a sales and marketing professional.
You just hook them up.
It's like, dude, it's great. It's the best marketing ever. If Home Depot
because everybody cares.
If Home Depot does it before Lowe's, Home Depot is going to get all that repeat business.
Yep.
Guess what? Asheville's got practically wiped off the planet. I think they're going to need some rebuilding.
Right.
Just maybe.
Yeah. So, and if you make it so they don't have to go toot their own horn, that's even better looking.
Yeah.
Anyway, we usually kind of tie this back into life and business and stuff.
Yes.
I think, honestly, because I've been thinking
this full circle.
I've been thinking about this, right? Because, we run into this in life, right? So, there are going to be times where, you have a rough go or I have a rough go.
We have.
And I can tell
we've known
you
each other
that
long enough to actually share a few of those over the years. Yeah.
right. But guess how many times the government's come in to help me out? Like they don't even show up late. They're just like, hey, you still owe taxes, right?
Yeah.
If they show up,
I paid more in taxes this year. I had to pay in this year. I owed thousands of dollars in taxes. I was like, my wife was like, what'd you do? And I'm like, I worked harder and I made more money. I'm sorry. My accountant must have missed something. And next thing you know, I'm cutting a $14,000 extra Fed check. But hey, FEMA's broke, but
yeah. But my point is so we can't count on them, but we can count on each other, right? Yeah. I have a friend who he has a product he's trying to sell and things have slowed down for him, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, hey dude, come on my podcast right now. We worked out an affiliate deal, right? Yeah. So I'll make some money too, because things slowed down for me too, right? Yeah. I just picked up a contract a couple weeks ago, and I should get paid within the next week or so, right? And so have money coming in, that's always good,
you spent
right?
years
so we helped each other
platform.
out, right?
Yeah. Maybe a discounted just to help each other out or something, but it's like, let's go,
But that's the deal, right? Is that and that's the other thing is, we're talking about the what does Home Depot or whatever get out of it? Well, that's the other thing is that, we all benefit from this, right? I benefit from helping him out, right? Because I'm going to get paid too, but he's going to benefit, right? He gets that umph from, the publicity that he gets off of the thousands of people that I'm able to reach.
Yep.
And when it comes down to what really makes a difference and what makes people successful, a lot of times it does come down to those kinds of relationships and who's willing to come through for who.
Yeah. I truly believe that. I mean, this is a great example. We spent the early part of the show, promoting these groups, just no delay. Let's go. Like they just loaded up their trucks, helicopters, and rolled in and did the good thing that we should do as citizens for our citizens. And luckily they have the nonprofit funding to do so. And I can't wait to donate to them more, because even though I have my own nonprofit, now that I know these groups are doing great things, that's wonderful. But you don't have to have a lot of money. That's why I was like, okay, well, I just launched my nonprofit program with the boots, right? So, okay, my funding for the charities all set aside to get back to our firefighters. I plan on draining that account before the new year or attracting new donations. So from now, I'm like, I can still go help North Carolina. Okay, I can free up a little bit of funding, figure out what I'm going to buy, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to leave as much as I go with there. Like just, if I got to leave if I got to leave a chainsaw behind, I'm all right with it. I'll go buy another one. Right. Because if I can't, I still have a business to run. I still have a family. Right. So I have to come back at some point, but it's like, okay, well, just give, because I truly believe in the law of the universe as well. Like things come around, like all of that. But it's like these people, it's going to be years before that is fully rebuilt down there. Years.
Yep.
I think they broke a telephone pole record. Like the amount of poles that have to be replaced is something. It's thousands. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but see, that's the other part of this, right? Is that your ability to just pick up and go down. I mean, even if it's for a few days or a week or whatever.
I'll do a couple long weekends. I might do that. Who knows? I might start doing this like every weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, but my point is that this is the other thing, because I think people a lot of times they get the idea around businesses. It's like, okay, how many points can I score in this game, right? And so they're thinking the points show up in your bank account, and sure, right, they do. But
I go with
the other piece of this is what are the other points that you're scoring? Because I'll tell you, right, if I go down there and I save Grandma and Grandpa's house because that it looks like that tree is going to fall in on them, and so I can cut it out from the bottom and it'll go the other way.
Yeah.
Or I can get in there and give some people a place to stay for a few nights that doesn't leak on them because their roof got torn off, and I go down with a bunch of plywood and tarps. Right? Though that's points, right? I've been doing this with my kids.
There's the selfish thing right there that I like. That's how I spin selfishness. It warms my heart when I do good things, So that's what I'm looking to get out of it. People are like, oh, what are you getting
Right.
out of it? I'm like, I feel better when I help
Right.
my fellow man. If that makes me evil, then let's go.
Right.
Because
I want to know that what I did mattered. And guess what? If I show up there and I alleviate some suffering, what I did mattered, right?
Yeah.
For me, another thing that I'm doing, and this doesn't have anything to do with serving other people, but I started talking to my kids, and I got this idea from a guy named Ken that I talked to the other day. But he was talking about his kids' bucket lists, and so one of his goals over the next year is to take one thing off of each of his daughter's bucket lists. I think he has 3 or 4 girls. And so I was like, I love
bucket
that.
lists? I love that. I didn't have a bucket
Yeah, well,
list.
they're like
20s.
They're in their 18. I think his youngest is like 18.
Still.
Anyway, but my kids, right? My youngest is 8. My oldest is 18. And so I looked at them, and they I don't think they have a bucket list per se, but I was talking to each of them, and I was like, okay, well, if you could go anywhere or do anything, what would you do? And I would love to, within the next year or 2 or 3, be able to do that, right? And for me, that's meaning, right? Because my love language is quality time, and so I want to do that with them, right? Same thing with like when I'm donating to charities, right? Like I mentioned, Operation Underground Railroad or Nazarene Fund or whatever, right?
And
it's like I can't go, but I can sure as hell donate.
And that's one thing that's a great reminder of. If you have a few, that's why I love crowdfunding, right? People don't realize, like, if you only got $5, but then there's thousands of people like you that only have $5. Well, 1,000 people just turn that into $5,000. So not everybody has, like, I'm in week 7 of coming back from the broken ribs and the hospital stay. And my number one client lives here locally, and she's my wife's best friend now. And she recently went through a breakup. So I was over, she was out of town. So I snuck over there the other night, and I put this on Instagram, and she had this giant pile of cut wood rounds. Like her ex-boyfriend had processed a bunch of trees and then just left it in a pile. I'm OCD. And I feel like I was around her. I could hear her. She feels overwhelmed. She feels, they broke up. Right. And like, I was like, Jen, don't worry about it. These are all things that it's only been 3 weeks or whatever it is. You're fine. But I was like, okay, I like to clean the slate. So, she didn't need me to run chainsaws. So I went over there and I stacked up all that wood. She had these 2 big, beautiful black walnuts. Every single round that was in that pile, it took me 2 hours. But now she's got this big, perfectly organized wall of wood rounds, about 5 feet high. Even I was surprised how much wood was in that pile. And I just stood back as the sun was setting, and I'm like, yeah. Nobody was there to enjoy it with me. I took a photo, put it on Instagram, and I'm like, that's awesome. And people had no idea why I put those photos up. I also I did a meme, and it said, I found a graphic, and it said, helping friends and neighbors. I'm like, there we go. I like to put, like you just put into words, these little positive thoughts and communications. It's what we all need to be doing more of. That's how we defeat evil. That's how we turn this negativity around. And like you just also said, maybe it's financially, or maybe it's physically picking things up and putting them down. Whatever works for you, just do something positive. Yeah.
And even here's the thing is, a lot of people are like, well, my work, something doesn't fulfill me, something, right? Well, then go earn the money so that you can go do the things that fulfill you. Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a one-to-one.
Yeah. Yeah. People always trying to find purpose. It's like, well, okay.
I like having purpose in my work, and I really enjoy what I do.
Yeah. But at the end of the
day.
Yeah. I was guilty of that. Years ago, I was like, oh, I hate my career, or I hate this job, or the one business I had started. I was like, this isn't making me happy. And it's like, I need to find purpose. I was like, through growth, you realize, well, finding purpose is a mindset. So maybe your career is not, quote unquote, giving you full purpose. So fine. But if you're making an amazing income from it, then just take a percentage of that income and do something good with it. And now you're realizing, wait a minute, I'm creating purpose from said thing that maybe I wasn't in love with. But now I'm like, now it does make sense. Because if you can't recreate that, let's say it's $200,000 a year you're making in that job that you don't love, But now all of a sudden you're doing nonprofit work. You start a charity, whatever it may be. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, well, there's my purpose.
Or you just sponsor the local scout troop, or you just, you donate to the food pantry the $20 extra you have every month. Like, it doesn't have to be a major thing, but you're doing something that matters to you. That's all I'm aiming for, right? And then, maybe you are in a position to take 2 weeks off and go help out down there, so you do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm glad we adapted on the fly again, just rolled with what's something that's happening right now. And again, the purpose of these shows is not to sit here and vent. And maybe that's how the show started off. It's only because we're both passionate people, and
we know we can do better.
Yeah, but it's not a matter of, we're not venting about the negativity. We're venting because I think anyway, if I was trying to find final words to help close the show out, I'm like, you know what it is? It's disappointment. But I can't dwell on disappointment, because that's why I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? I can't change FEMA. I can't change our political horse crap, right? But what can we do as citizens to help our fellow man? Maybe it's sponsoring the Girl Scouts group, or hiring a neighbor's kid to teach them work ethic and help make a little bit of money on the side.
Yeah.
Whatever. Me taking a long weekend and going down and running chainsaws, which is my goal, or pick things up and put things down since I can again physically. It's like, that's where the smile comes from. That's where that warmth comes from. And it's like, okay, we can do this as a populace, as a country. We don't need federal oversight to figure that out.
Right.
I loved how you tied that into some personal things on your own front, right? Like, I could be there in Asheville with no traffic jams, in following the speed limits, technically with a P break or two, 9 hours. Right. So it'll take me 9 hours. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make sure whatever group I align with, they know my capabilities, and if they can direct them, even better. If not, and they just need to do to show up with some fuel cans and then spend a couple of days picking things up and putting them down, I'll do that too. Yeah. I don't care, whatever. And then if what I'm doing can attract more people to support those groups and donate to them, then great. Now I just created even bigger purpose, because it's not just my sweat equity now. It's also my fans and my followers knowing, hey, well, okay, I can't do what Scott's doing. Well, it's not a brag, my friends. It's me calling attention to the fact that we all need to be stepping up in one way or another. If it's not physical sweat equity, it's some financial sweat equity, or start sharing what these groups are doing. At ground zero, hate to use that term, but down there at the Storm, foundation, and watch what these groups are doing. And then when you can afford, or you can connect with people that can give back, where to direct them. Because that's kind of what I'm going through right now, is finding the right groups to align with that will let me work with them. Like, that's what I got to do over this weekend. And it's becoming my new, because I need another job. It's becoming my next.
We all need another thing to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, well, I got the charity, got the company, got the other consultancy, got the podcast. Let's add in researching nonprofit groups to figure out how I could show up and make a bigger impact. Cool. Yeah. Worth my time. So, and it's just, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the thing that I think I just want to go back to is people showed up, right? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, exponentially. People, the second that they could be in there, people were in there with helicopters dropping off water, right? Yeah. The second that they could be there, people were in there trying to help make sure that hurt people could get help.
Oh, dude, there's a dude, Jonathan and his wife Whitney. I met them here at a public speaking event, and I'm friends with them online. And actually, this was the first thing that got me motivated, because I looked and they have like a ranch out. I don't know if I think they're in Michigan. And he doesn't like to be digitally anywhere, but she is. So she's sharing it. He's loading up the pickup truck, hitching up the trailer with a skid steer on it, loading every spare, space of the trailer up and the truck up that within weight capacity. And he's there now. He drove down last week. and he's working with another church group. They help clear the parking lot of the church to set up a headquarters, and he's still there.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, well, when's he coming back?" And she's like, "I don't know.
He's coming back when it's done."
Right. He goes, "I can afford to take time away from my company. Let's go." Now granted, Whitney and her team has to hold down the fort,
Right.
but it's like, she's like, people needed help. We have the financial ability to take a little bit of freedom here. We have the gear, we have the equipment. Like, he's down there, like, literally bulldozing mud out of a parking lot with his skid steer that they take care of their farm with. Like,
right.
I loved it. It's like, yes, stuff like that just gets me fired up.
But the thing, and I've been on a little bit of a kick with this. I have a podcast that I'm starting. I set up a studio in here to record. I need to just sit down and start recording it. But the thing is that this, to me, shows who we are, right?
Yes.
Who we, the Americans, are. And as much as, especially during the election season, we get people, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a this, I'm a that, I believe in this and I don't believe in that, and pick your hot button issue, and I hate people that believe that. But when the rubber hit the road, guess what? Guess where we were, right? We were there for each other. And the people that are over there helping out, they're not going, are you voting for blah, blah, Harris or Trump?
They're too busy. They don't have time to worry about the election or all this other crap.
You need me. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And that shows who we are.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is the, like, it's not a lesson learned for business, but it's really encouraging to me.
Yeah, but you know what?
We still have that in us.
It does. You can tie everything across That's what I love about this. Like, your personal inhibitions directly tie into your business way of life as well. That's why, from firefighting, duty, respect, and integrity are tattooed on my ribs. Okay, because my success grew when I truly started embodying those, not just from firefighting. Then I channeled it in my personal life. Then it really set in. I'm like, wait a minute, no, this applied. I have to live this in and outside, in the business, in the charity, in my marriage. Like, yes, like, because these words mean something. And if people realize, okay, all right, I have a duty to protect my fellow man, right? I have I need to respect my fellow man. Yeah. And I need to remind myself that I need to stay ethical throughout that entire process. Yeah. So that's just my own personal thing.
Yeah. And it's not the government's job. It's us.
Yeah.
We're the answer. Like, all the problems we have, we're the answer. Not them, not the people in Washington. Yeah. Right? I talk to people who think Trump's going to come in and solve everything.
Oh,
I talk to people that think that Trump's going to come in and ruin everything. And the reality is the answer to the problems is us.
Yeah. People forget, like, your most important action, not to bring it back to politics, but it's like, okay, your local government. Yeah. Those are the ones that we have way more impact with, because that all goes up from there. Your local people that get to the state level, that get to the Congress, that all of that. I mean, there was a great old quote. What was it?
Even down to your neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying. So,
what good are you doing in your neighborhood?
There's an old quote. I hate to admit it. I learned it in the my old network marketing world, but it was a great quote. It was you have to start local before you can before you can grow global, right? So you have to make an impact at the local, smaller level. So even if you want to bring it into economics, right? Micro versus macro. Micro versus macro is just the pure definitions. One is very focused, minute. One is very broad. Okay. Yeah. Focus on what's directly able to be impacted by you and your actions. And more often than not, it's local.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Or cross state lines and help your fellow man across the state line, which I'll be doing in the next couple of weeks. So I'm so pumped. I can't wait to do this.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I wish I could go.
Hey, right. You're doing good. I don't have kids. You being a super dad. I think I'd rather go wield chainsaws in a swamp in North Carolina.
I'm not a super dad. I'm a chauffeur.
I'll still take the chainsaws and the mud and the questionable water after a
I'm
hurricane.
gonna have a party when my daughter get her driver's license. Let me tell you what.
I thought she was almost there.
Yeah, we're waiting to hear when she can take the driver's test.
Oh, okay. That's right. So here in Pennsylvania, I think my friend just went through that with his daughter. And I think you're allowed to get your permit, and then you have to have proven driving success over 6 months
Yeah.
before you're allowed to test. Is that similar in Utah?
Yes.
Okay.
You can get your permit at 15. You have to
15.
have it.
Wow.
You have to have the permit for at least 6 months in order to get your driver's license. You have to get 40 hours driving
who
with.
analyzes the success in driving across all modalities? Like, I mean, obviously it'll be tested, but I mean, do you?
You take the test, but the state requires that you spend 40 hours with another licensed driver who's over the age of 21 in the car with you.
I remember that when I was a kid. Yeah,
and 10 of those hours have to be at night.
Yep.
And then you have to go through driver's ed. You have to sit through this extremely boring meeting with one of your parents if you're a teenager. And then you have to take the driving test. Now, if you're over 18, so my son is 18 and he didn't pass the written test. And so he finally passed it.
Is he not a good test taker? Some people are like that.
Yes,
wired that
that's a major issue for him. But he finally passed it. The law is different for him because he's 18. So he does not have to have his permit for 6 months. As soon as he can pass the driving test and he's gotten those 40 hours in, he can get his license the next day.
Interesting.
And so I'm trying to work things out so that I can get the time in with him, because as soon as we're done with the thing, he has to go take the class, take the driving test, and then he can get his license. And then I'd have 2 drivers who can drive people around. That's not me.
I'm very excited.
Or my wife.
I would love to have a chauffeur take me to North Carolina.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I'll show him a few things. So
pay my airfare. I'll come out.
I love it. So, well, hey man, I'm glad we got to catch up. We had to reschedule this a couple times this week.
Crazy week.
It's a shame these natural disasters are always going to happen. It's a shame that this one is the worst in recorded history.
But I think it's a blessing too, because we get the opportunity to take care of each other. I mean, as much as I don't want bad things to happen to people, the next best thing is that we showed up.
Yeah. And we're going to keep seeing that from tens of thousands of our fellow citizens. And that's, again, FEMA aside and governmental mistakes, even if they're showing up broken and mismanaged, you got to, a great old
as long as they're not getting in the way.
He goes, you know what? Exactly. As long as you're not hindering it, it's like, dude, my old fire boss taught us this. He goes, at the end of every day, you got to find a way to take the good out of it. If you don't, you're not going to survive mentally. And then the mind drives the body, right? You have to find a way to find the positives, because there's just, it's way too easy to just dwell on the negative in this world. So,
Yep.
Great show today, man. Thank you for hanging out. Anything else you want to close out with?
Nope.
All right. Well, hang tight. I'll give you a proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, we send our strongest wellness wishes out there to the people suffering and recovering from Hurricane Helene. Thank you for allowing Chuck and I to vent and also share that our fellow man is stepping up in more ways than one. And whether it's religiously, spiritually, or just crazy adrenaline junkies like me, I love it. Whether it's a mule train, a helicopter, a plane, or a crazy cool convoy from all these different nonprofit groups. It's amazing. Let's relish in that. Let's remind ourselves that people do care, and maybe find a way to take that same positive energy and impact your own local community, like Chuck and I were closing out with today. Focus locally before you worry about whatever else is going on in the globe today. Take care of your local community, take care of your fellow man, and because life could be so much harder for each of us. So we are blessed in more ways than one. Thanks for listening in. And remember, you too can live the fuel, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.
Bye.